No, but April.
Hey, why did the Invisible Man turn down because he sees himself?
When you ask a dad,
You gotta talk louder though.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all can hear me.
when you ask a dad if they got a haircut, no, I got them all cut.
Mom, how do I look? Mom said, how do I look? Dad, with your eyes.
What Forrest Gump's password?
Oh my word, Terrence. Come on.
Okay. What's Forrest Gump's? What's Forrest Gump's password? 1 4.
You so lost this game. 1 Forrest 1.
1 Forrest.
Number 10.
Okay, now you got a point. Look at that. Now you got it. It still counts. It still counts.
Okay.
Number 10. What do you call a cow with 2 legs? Lean beef. The cow has no legs, but it's ground beef.
What kind of rap music do Mexicans like? Amigos.
You definitely won.
1 Forrest.
This is terrible.
Oh my goodness. Do you want this back?
You can hold on to it.
The viewers, I'm sorry.
You can hold on to it. So, quick announcement, just a reminder that we're going to Six Flags Fright Fest September 23rd. Tickets are $40. You can get tickets on the link there. This is also on the group me, so you can see it. Oh, I'm not editing that. Yep. Oh, let's get this right so that we can see it completely right. And then we'll start tonight. Beautiful. Oh. All right. You want to... Oh. All right. So good evening, everyone. Well, friends, and then we'll start. Thank you all for participating in our expert credentials tonight. All about delivery. We'll try it again.
I know. I should have had it first.
Now that we're clear about how we're playing with Terrence, we'll try it again later on so that we can get it good. All right. Can you pray for us, Papa? Thank you.
Lord, I thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing everyone to be here. I ask that everything that is said tonight resonates with us, and that you allow it to stick with us and not just the words that we hear, but let us live out what we learned tonight. And I pray that the word falls on good ground in Jesus' name.
Amen. All right, so our notes are on the mobile app. They're also up on the screen tonight. And so we have a base scripture, and then we have an actual scripture that we'll be looking at. So our base scripture is Proverbs 3, 11, and 12. And it says, "When a child despise the Lord's discipline, or be worthy of his words." And then 12 says, "For the Lord reproves the ones that he loves." Check out the Bible. The Father, the Son, right? So this is our base scripture, and I want us to use this as a base scripture for the next scripture that we'll read and we'll look. Okay? So Proverbs 3 and 11, 1 through 12. I just kind of want you to keep that in your mind. So the premise of this scripture says, what is it pretty much saying? Anybody? Not so much respect your father, but I'll take it. But what else you get from it?
Abiding by, so not like tugging away from the Lord's correction. Like, right.
Okay, so not turning away from the Lord's correction. So the whole idea of if we need to be corrected, don't despise it, don't turn away. So if we think about correction for a minute, most of us, well, let's talk about correction first. So correction, right, is a change that rectifies an error or inefficiency. So we got to correct something. It's a change that has to be made, right? An error, something that's inefficient, something that needs to be changed, something that needs to be fixed. So then, the fact that very few people like being wrong, and even less people are willing to admit it. Right? So very few people like being wrong. Most of us don't like being wrong. And if we have to admit being wrong, it's like pulling teeth. So, if very few people like being wrong, even less people are willing to admit it. Go back to this follow-up section just a minute. This whole idea of not despising the Lord's discipline. Ben would insinuate that at some junction, if we've got to be disciplined, then we have to get to a place of being able to take it. So, let me ask you a question. If your teacher says to you, I want for you to write a rough draft, and I want you to submit it to me, and I am going to edit this paper for you. And they give it back to you, and 90% of your paper is crossed out with red marks. How do you feel?
Like you and the teacher, you can square up after class.
You ready to fight the teacher, right?
Well,
She said she can't hear you.
She said she can't hear me. I tried to adjust it so she could. That's before I got it. Okay. Until I posted later. You're right. Until I posted later. Okay. So you ready to square up, ready to fight the teacher? How else might you feel? Anybody? Anything else? Any other feelings?
I'll be upset.
You will be upset. So why would you be upset? Why would you be ready to fight?
I was just saying she's
yes.
Very few people like to admit that they're wrong. This couldn't be my paper that you just gave me back because my paper would have needed all this correction, right? So most of us would be indignant because we feel like, okay, maybe I need some guidance, some help, but you're like, you're tripping, right? There's no way.
Or an addict.
Or an addict.
Like your work isn't good enough or something's just not right.
So, but even if somebody correcting you makes you feel inadequate, typically what's your response if you feel inadequate? It makes you what? Defensive, not want to do it, not want to be bothered, not open to improve, not open to correction. If you're really angry, then you hand back in the same paper.
That's annoying. Why would you?
Right? Some people would do it. No, I don't think. This could be my paper, so I'm going to hand this back in. She might be sleepy. I know my paper was good, right? Or you take it and you don't modify or change everything. You say, well, no, some of the stuff is about style. Some of the stuff is this, that, and the third. And so, I really don't. What happens when you say to a friend, hey, I know that I need to work in this area of my life, and so I need for you to check me if you see me out of pocket here, and then they actually check you. It's humbling.
So then I would have been like who you think you are. But now I'm like, okay, that's fine.
So depending on where you're at in your growth journey,
Yeah.
you can ask somebody to check you, and then they check you, and then you again are defensive. Again, like, why are you talking like that? Again, like, have you looked in the mirror? Because I know what you do too. This is not about what I do. You asked me to check you, and I'm just simply doing what you asked me to do, right? So bottom line is most of us have a problem with correction. Most of us will see correction as some form of punishment or some form of making us feel like we're inadequate or something that will cause for us to be defensive and not want to be bothered and possibly over the top in order to find it. The proverb says, receive the correction of the Lord because those whom he loves, he corrects. And he corrects them because he sees them as his child. So I'm a parent, I have 2 kids, I have godkids, have lots of adult children. The thing about correction is done not for the sake of embarrassing somebody, not for the sake of shaming somebody. Rather, correction is done for the sake of something being right. Not just something being right, but also should be. If you're being corrected, it should be for your benefit. Right? should be for your benefit, should be for your enhancement, should be for your improvement, should be for the enhancement of whatever is going on. So real correction should cause for us to grow in the direction that we're trying to go. Again, most of us have problems with correction. So I want to look at a narrative tonight that deals with correction. It may not feel like it deals with correction at first, but by the time we get to the base of it, we'll see very clearly how it deals with correction. I'll have 2 points tonight. We'll look at a lot of scripture reading, but we'll get through it. So the purpose of correction is improvement in or adherence. So sometimes we're corrected so that we can improve. Sometimes we're corrected so that we can adhere to what needs to be done. Because we don't always know as much as we think that we know. A really good example is when I was in school here, I tell the story often. When I was in school here, Dean Carter asked us to pull the chairs onto the stage. What did you just hear me say?
Dean Carter asked you to
pull the chairs on the stage. What did you not hear me say?
You didn't pull the chairs.
No. So, we pulled the chairs on the stage. So, Dean Carter asked us to pull the chairs on the stage. We pulled the chairs on the stage, and then we were setting up for a crown forum. So we set up the chairs like crown forums normally set up. What's the problem? Is there a problem? Am I doing what I was asked to do? It does sound like it. Yeah, you put the chairs on stage.
But you didn't do it the way that he...
Dean Carter walks out. Thank you, Terrence.
Right.
Dean Carter walks out, and he goes, gentlemen, now we're all up. You have wasted your time. I asked you to pull the chairs up on the stage. You have taken the time out to set them up. And this is not how we're setting them up today. Now, we're indignant and in our feelings and all over the place because we're like, well, Dean, we knew what you asked us to do, and we just took the liberty to go ahead and set them up because we figured, which is how most of us live our lives, right? I figured that. We figured that it was going to be like it normally was. And Dean said, well, no. I just asked you to pull the chairs out because I knew that they were going to need to be organized a different way because today is a special day. We're going to need more chairs, meaning we can't set them up like we normally set them up. Now, in my defense and our defense, we could have looked at Dean and said, well, you could have gave us more instruction. But much like Dean Carter, God doesn't always give us the instruction on the forefront like we want. And or, right? Sometimes we have it, but we forgot about it. And so, Dean looks at us and says, well, just push chairs back in the middle so that we can organize them the way that we organize. So he comes out and he corrects us for the sake of adherence, right? So this one wasn't necessarily about improvement, but it was about adherence. It was, this is the way that this is supposed to go. This is the right way today, right? And so it may not have been the right way yesterday, it may not be the right way next week, but this is the right way today, and so I need for you to correct it. And typically, like in that instance, if we allow for ourselves to only operate in our feelings that are a result of us being corrected, then we may miss out on something, or we may embarrass ourselves further, or we may position ourselves to become haughty and feel like nobody can feel that correction. Right? So we just kind of chalked it up and ultimately said, you know what, Dean, you're absolutely right. You just asked us to move the chairs. Our fault. Thank you for correcting us. Let's fix this. All right. Okay, so let's look at the scripture. And so we'll look in 2 places. The first place we'll look is 1 Chronicles 13, 1 through 14. Right? So 1 Chronicles 13, 1 through 14. I thought it was going to be bigger up there, but that's not. I just read it. It's on the notes now. I'll read it from there. It's on there. It's not the church app, it's on my app, which is TR Shameless. So, all right. So 1 Chronicles 13, 1 through 14 says, David consulted with commanders of the thousands and the hundreds of every leader. And David said to the whole assembly of Israel, it seems good to you if it is the will of the Lord, our God. Let us send abroad to our kindred who remain in all lands of Israel, including the priests and the Levites in the cities that have pastures, that they may come together to us. Then let us bring again the ark of God to us. For we did not turn to it in the days of Saul. The whole assembly agreed to do so, for the thing pleased all people. So David assembled all of Israel to Succor in Egypt to Lebanon, and to bring the ark of God. And David and all of Israel went up to Bala, which belonged to Judah, to bring up there the ark of God, the Lord, which is called upon Cherub, which is called by his name. And they carried the ark of God on the cart from the house of Ebediah to Uzziah to Oah, were driving the cart. And David and all of Israel were dancing before the Lord with all their might, and the songs and lyre, and the harps and tambourines and the cymbals and the trumpet. And when they came to the threshing floor, and Shalom, Uzziah pulled out his hand to hold the ark for the auction. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzziah and struck him down because he put his hand to the ark. And he died before God. And David was angry because the Lord burst out against Uzziah, so he called that place Perez Uzziah to this day. And David was afraid of God that day. He said, how can we bring the ark of God into my care? So David did not take the ark into his care into the city of David. Instead, he took it to the house of Obed-Edom. And the ark of God remained in the house of Obed-Edom, in his house for 3 months. And the Lord blessed the household of Obed-Edom and all that he had. All right, so here's my question. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you think about? What comes to mind? What are your thoughts? What's happening? I know it seems strange. We'll talk about it.
No, it was just a lot.
It's a lot. Okay.
They were given instructions.
Who was giving instructions?
David consulted with a group of people. He gave them instructions.
So whose idea is this?
It was. It was the people's idea. Yes. Okay, I thought that was right. I thought that first, but I was like, no, that can't be right.
That's why I asked you. No, it's David's idea. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's David's idea to go and get the Ark of the Covenant. What is the Ark of the Covenant? Everybody know? Okay. So the physical representation of God's presence that Moses instructed to build, right? That houses the tablets that God gives the commandments on. It houses Aaron's staff that floods a robe, kind of houses stuff in this city that has two kind of angels called cherubs over this kind of place, right? It's made of wood, it's gold poured on top of it, and it represents the physical presence of God for Israel. Right, so it's not with them, it's in another place. The Philistines are like taking it a couple times over. And so David has this brighter day, says, look, in the days of Saul, we didn't see the face of God. Now, we know that this is kind of a tradition. This is how we identify the presence of God. We haven't been doing that, so I want to be a better king than Saul was. Let's go get this thing back. So that we can have the physical presence of God in Israel with us. So this is David's idea. So he gathers up all these people to go and get it. They put it on the cart, and they're traveling. It says they hit this place in the threshing floor. In the threshing floor now, all of a sudden the ox stumbles, and the ox is pulling the cart. And so as the ox stumbles, so one of the guys that's walking alongside of it goes and takes his hand to catch it. Says the guy gets mad with him. He dies. David gets mad with God. Right? David gets mad with God. And in the midst of David getting mad with God now, he also gets scared with God. Says, we're just not going to make this back to Jerusalem. It's not going to happen. So we're going to leave it here this first. Says they leave it there at this man's house. It is there for 3 months, and everything in his house is blessed. Is there a problem? Who seems to have a problem with the text? David? Who else has a problem with the text? Is it only David? Well, does he have a problem with it? Why would he have a problem with it? No, not necessarily. It just gets up at his house. You don't touch it, it doesn't bother you, it's just there. And it says that he's blessed. You know who else has a problem with the text? God has a problem with the text.
Yeah, he got angry.
It says that God gets angry because this man reached out his hand to catch this now. And he doesn't catch it. Why in the world would God get angry if all they're trying to do is bring his presence, right, representation of his physical presence, back to Jerusalem. Why would God get mad? Can I infer to us tonight that sometimes there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things?
Yeah, they didn't do it the right way. Like, it wasn't carried out correctly.
So there's a problem. He didn't do it the right way. It wasn't carried out correctly. Does somebody know what the problem is?
They're not supposed to put it on a cart. Is that the issue?
Well, let's see. So are they not supposed to put it on the cart? Perhaps. Is that the issue? No. Let's figure it out. So it's in the text. We have it still. We haven't read it yet, so we'll read it now. Here we go. So we'll jump to chapter 15, and we'll read verses 1 through 4. Stop. So chapter 15, same book, verses 1 through 4.
You was carrying or actively carrying? No.
So David builds a house for himself in the city of David, and he prepares a place for the ark of God and pitches a tent for it. Then David commanded that no one but the Levites were to carry the ark of God, for the Lord had chosen them to carry the ark of God and to minister to him. And then David assembled all of Israel in Jerusalem to bring the ark of the Lord to its place. When he had prepared for it, then David gathered the Levites and the descendants of Aaron. And David summoned the priests of Zodek and Hebar, and the Levites, Uri, Isaiah, Joel, Shammai, Eli, and Abimadab. And he said to them, "You are the heads of the families of the Levites. Sanctify yourselves, you and your kindred, so that you may bring up the ark of the Lord, the God of Israel, to the place that I prepared it, because you did not carry it the first time." The Lord burst out in anger against us, because we did not give it proper care. So the priests and the Levites sanctified themselves to bring up the ark of the Lord, the God of Israel. And the Levites carried the ark of God on their shoulders with poles, as Moses had commanded, according to the word of the Lord. So David and the elders of Israel and the commanders of the thousands went to bring up the ark of the covenant of the Lord to the house of Bethesda with rejoicing. And because God helped the Levites who were carrying the ark of the covenant of the Lord, they sanctified 7 rams. Now what do we figure out? So what's the problem?
David didn't instruct them the way Moses did. So there was already instructions laid out that they were supposed to follow according to Moses, and they didn't follow those instructions. But it could be easily stated that they didn't follow those instructions because David didn't communicate it to them.
So who needs corrected?
David.
But whose idea was this? We already established. I asked you this question.
Yeah, it was David's idea.
Exactly. So we're talking about correction, right? So then who's getting corrected in the narrative?
No, David's not getting corrected in the narrative.
He is.
Not directly, though.
He is getting corrected in the narrative. So, what's talking about? You said David corrected himself. So, that's one way of looking at it, and that's perspective, right? So David corrects himself. But typically, you correct yourself when what? When you receive direction, or when you figured out that you were wrong about something. Right? So even if we say that David corrects himself, then there are several implications. One of those implications being he had to figure out what was wrong. Right? So I got 3 points I'm going to give you. And then we talk. We can go home. Really simple. Here's the first one. First one is even good intentions can need correction. Many of us have great intentions. His intentions are pure. His motives are good. His intentions are, hey, listen, Saul, when he was ruling, did not seek the face of God, did not inquire of God at the ark. And I understand principally as a people, this is what we're supposed to do, right? This is how this is supposed to work. This is my assignment. This is what it looks like. Many of us have good intentions, right? We say, hey, I want to start this. I want to do this. I want to go there. I want to participate. I want to be a part. I want to do this a particular type of way, right? We have really, really great intentions. But the thing about good intentions is even good intentions can be misguided. Even good intentions can need correction. And so most of us have the initial response that David has when our good intentions feel like they get shut down. See, because that's how we receive correction. Most of us receive correction as what we are trying to do being shut down because it's not working the way we expected for it to work. Because it doesn't pan out the way that we desire for it to pan out. And so as such, it says that David gets angry. So the Lord is angry, David gets angry. But most of us stop at anger. Right? Most of us stop and say, okay, I'm angry, this is difficult, this is uncomfortable. And so in my anger, we already talked about this, right? I may not do anything, or I may be ready to fight, or whatever. So David does what most of us do, and he just kind of stops. He's like, you know what? If this side's going to go down, I had good intentions, but I'm just not going to do it. So what he does is he takes the argument and and then he realizes something. Gets into Obed-Edom's house, and he realizes now that he's got a decision that he's got to make. This brings me to my second point. So I'm only got 3. I'm only halfway down tonight. My second point is this. When we are shown we're wrong, we can miss out on our blessing if we throw in the towel. So Proverbs says it like this. Don't despise correction, see it. And so now I'm saying this, see it for what it is. The opportunity to get what was wrong right. So what do you mean? So in the text, David leaves the Ark of the Covenant. All of a sudden, these 3 months that David was like, yeah, I'm just going to leave it here. I'm not down for this. Clearly, God was mad. I'm upset. This is making me sense. I have really, really good intentions. I was trying to do the right thing, and it's not working. So I'm just going to take my hands off and let people do it. And all of a sudden, the thing that David was supposed to be spearheading, that he understood and knew was a part of what he was supposed to be doing, starts producing in somewhere else that he's not benefiting from. He looks up now and realizes that he's missing out on the benefit and the blessing of the fulfillment of what his intention was in the first place. And so now David has to make a decision, and his decision is that either I am going to remain mad, or I'm going to, like you said, self-correct, right? I got to self-correct, figure out what's wrong now so I can make this right. So what we see and what we read in chapter 15, which is interesting because also in 13, if you read chapter 13, the same people that are listed in chapter 15 are listed in chapter 13. The problem is they're not the ones carrying the ark like they're supposed to be, right? So they're present and they're there. So it's not that what is needed isn't present. Rather, what is present is being mismanaged. Right? So it's not necessarily that everything that's needed isn't present. Because it is. But David has to figure out what needs to be rearranged, what priorities need to be changed, what needs to be shifted, so that what needs to be accomplished can be accomplished. Because it can be accomplished. I want to encourage you tonight that in the midst of correction, whether it's God correcting us, whether God is putting on our life to correct us, whether we're in an academic setting and we're being corrected, whether we're in a job setting and being corrected, I want to encourage you that it can be corrected. So we got to see correction for what it is, and that is an opportunity to get it right so that we can keep going and move forward and benefit from the things that we need to do, the things that we need to do, not just be in our feelings. Right? Which brings me to my third point. I'll show you. My third one is this. Don't resent, refocus. Most of us just start resenting, right? David very well for a little while may have resented God. So you want to kill a person that was just trying to not make sure that the ark broke, right? He's just trying to make sure it don't break. You want to kill him? I'm not cool. I'm not cool with that. That's not cool. That's problematic, right? And so for many of us, when we're corrected, whether we're corrected by God, whether we're corrected by our parents, we're corrected by our mentors, we're corrected by our pastors, we're corrected by our friends, many of us just go straight for resentment. You know what? I'm not going to bang with you like that. I'm not here for it. I'm not cool with it. We can kind of have space. It can be what's going to be. I'm not really down for it because I don't have the energy for it. I don't have the time for it. But then we miss out on receiving everything that we could receive if we simply adjusted and recalibrated. Right? And so now I want to encourage us to not resent, but to refocus. So what does David do? David refocuses. Somewhere, Terrence, he figures out that he was wrong. Somewhere he says, you know what? I got to figure out why God was mad and killed this man. Because I know if God is blessing Obed-Edom's house, that the issue isn't the ark, and the issue isn't me moving the ark, because God has shown me right now that there is a blessing and a benefit to what I was doing. That I was not doing the wrong thing. Rather, I was simply going about it the wrong way. So he does the research, he figures it out. We don't know if he has a conversation with the priest. We don't know what happens, but what we do know is after about 3 months, and he'll look at it and say, you know what, I'm about getting tired of not receiving what I'm supposed to receive now. He reorchestrates, recalibrates, relaunches and says, you know what, okay, cool, this is what we're going to do. I recognize that I was wrong. It is the responsibility of the Levites, per God's commandment that he gives to Moses, that they're the ones that are supposed to carry the house. So first of all, I don't need nobody else touching this. Do I need touching this? Are these particular people, this is what I need on it, so that we can be in order. Secondly, we need to make sure that it's carried the right way. They put it on the car. Back to your question, though. No, it's not supposed to be carried on the car. So the way the Ark of the Covenant is designed is it has pole holes on both sides, and there are poles that are stuck on both sides, and it's carried on their shoulders. And so they're walking, carried on their shoulders, right? And so these adjustments are made, and then, as they're made, they're able to get the ark into Jerusalem. Right? There's so much other stuff in the text that I would unpack, but I'm not going to unpack tonight. I want you to unpack it all on your own, right? The stuff that deals with threshing floor and the fact that this happens here, a place where production happens, right? And it seems like in the middle of producing, all of a sudden now there's this halt because things are not working the way they're supposed to work. Or the fact that David's wife gets mad on the tail end when he comes in dancing and says he dances out of his clothes now because he understands the value of what's going on and she doesn't. Right? Whole other sets of things that we can do. Point tonight, though, is don't present your focus. Don't present recalibrate. I just wanted to encourage us tonight to embrace correction for what it is. Right? Because if we embrace correction for what it is, then we can grow and we can learn. And we won't keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again, which give us the same results. Because one of the challenges that many of us have is we do the same thing and then expect different results. And then get frustrated when we get the same results. So we are not going to keep getting the same results. That it becomes important for us to refocus by figuring out what needs to be fixed. Because I guarantee you that if something needs correcting, then what that means is it's not all wrong. It's not all bad. So we got to figure out what we need to adjust, how we need to adjust, so that we can maximize every moment that God has given us, so that we can receive all of the benefit, so that we can fulfill all of the destiny, so that we can completely be who God has called us to be. Right? Real simple, easy peasy, super easy, because getting to a place of being okay with correction is difficult all by itself. Right? So I just wanted to encourage us tonight. Like Proverbs 3 says, and that is to embrace and to receive the correction of the Lord. Because we recognize that if He's correcting us because He wants us to be our best in this. He's correcting us because He wants us to be able to fully receive everything that He has for us. And He loves us so much that He's not just going to let us go around in error and be wrong and have people look at us like, oh, okay, they're just wrong. And or get to a place where we're just flat out embarrassed because we thought we were right. Now we're being told that we were. And as much as we get mad at people who love us and correct us, if we learn how to embrace the people who love us and correct us, then we wouldn't find ourselves in embarrassing situations because they corrected us. We wouldn't find ourselves in places where we're all in our feelings because of the opinions of people who want to say this and third, we're confused and we're all over the place now because we don't know what's right, we don't know what's wrong. Indoor now, we're hearing the same thing over and over and over again, and now we feel some type of way. Or we feel like we have to prove something to people. Right? Thoughts, questions, funny jokes. Funny dad jokes. you to come back next week. So, the only thing I'll tell you is that it is a place where they deal with harvesting. But next week, I want you to come back. I want you to tell me what it is. And I want you to tell me what else happens at the threshing floor beyond just harvesting. Because there are a couple things in the scripture. If you just do a good word search, that you'll find that there are various activities that take place in this particular threshing.
And I actually asked that question when I watched the service.
Yes, okay.
So, no, it's not a place where you go pray, but based upon the sermons of what she's talking about, once you do the research on it, what she's talking about is the process. So she talks about process. And so the process is important. So as you do your research, figure out the processes that take place, and then we can talk.
That was over there.
We come back and talk about it again next week, right? So the piece of the threshing floor again. So what I can say is it has to do with process.
That leaves out.
So so I'll say it this way, right? How frustrating is it that when you reach a place of process, in a place of production, you find yourself being corrected in the middle of production? When it seems like everything is going right and going smoothly. Now there's this halt and this stop, and you're being shown and told that you're wrong. So I just want you to put yourself in the shoes. What are your emotional attachments? David, he gets angry with God. Right? And so this encounter could happen anywhere, but it happened. It's insignificant. I would say it has some significance. That this encounter happens at a place that is representative of production. That is, but more so, not just representing now, talking to so much of the research, but not just representing of production, very specifically representing this happens at a place in a time, in a place where, very particularly, there is an intentional separating from the good and the bad. So when you do your research, you know, but there's an intentional, and threshing floors, used properly, there's an intentional separation of the good and the bad in that place. And so, at this place where the good and the bad takes place, God looks and says, you have good intentions, but you're going about this bad. Right? These other things are really symbolic. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Anything else? No, quite deep. Eyes on. No, we good. Someone said, we'll be helpful to remind you that there was a Bible study in this group. Plus, it's regular. Thank y'all for hanging out with us tonight. Good? Good? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? This is concern. Thoughts? No thoughts?
It made me think of creative criticism. Like, if you can take criticism and make it like remind yourself of that you just take the criticism and you feel take it make yourself feel disappointed in yourself, make yourself feel like you didn't do better than you could because someone else did it and you're not in a situation. And I thought when you said about the paper, the exam about the paper, I mean, if you stayed up all night and you wrote that paper in an hour, you can't really be mad that you read all over it. But if you spent a whole night writing that paper and you read all over it, you already feel, I mean, I would feel like, and it was really that.
And I think that a lot of us approach that. To that point, David, I think you would consider David. David is a smart man. David is a worshiper. David has access to this kind of stuff. So it very well could have been that David was doing this like a rush thing. This is a really great idea. I want to make this happen. So let's make this happen. Let's get it done. Let's make this happen. I'll never forget when I was in seminary, get my first master's degree. And Luke Timothy Johnson, who is a world-renowned New Testament scholar, New Testament teacher. And I think I got like a B- or a C+ on the paper. And I was mad about my paper. And so it's like, well, if you have questions about your grade, come see me in my office hours. Here they are. Sign up and they come see me. So I walked in my time, had this 15-minute slot. He looked at me, looked at my paper, and he looked up, sitting at his desk typing, probably working on one of his own apps. Turned around, looked at me, and goes, "You wrote this paper the last minute." I looked back at him and said, "Yes, I have." He looked at me and said, "Do you still have questions about your grade?" I said, "No, sir." All the correction I need. Can't go in. I mean, the fact that it's a man, and this is what he does. Looked at me, looked at my, picked back at my paper and said, "Oh, you want your paper? You want a better grade?" Correction. That I could have spent all of my feelings about, like, well, you need to talk to me with, and give me the correction about it. I didn't need nothing else. Not in that moment. Right? And so sometimes we're very clear about what we need to correct. And sometimes we're not. We have to figure it out. But the goal is figuring it out so that we don't get stuck. Because I would have said, okay, and still kept writing my parents the last minute, I would have got a C in this class. Because I would have just been producing C work. Although at that jump track, I was doing 2 credits. So then I couldn't have been mad if I got a C. David couldn't be mad if he left the art at Obed Blue's house. And he never received the blessing at Obed. Yes, ma'am. We'd like to thank you. Which one? No? Okay. Which one? Anything else? No? All right, let's ask the question. Well, let's pray. No, seriously, let's pray.
Sorry, you just had a real wrap it up game.
I'm done talking. You know, you want to know why we end up in here soon? We done talking. So, yeah, talk about it.
That was a Father, number 48, and this number is thank you for just making us all over the nation, God, even president, and all of these instructions. On you, speaking of the man that sits in the seat of the president, usually there's like a HBCU week that goes on. And the HBCU week that goes